not trying to offend anybody here with some of the content of these tables. They are very much centered around Israel, a lot of them. So I'm going to show you what we have. This was one that Rabbi Glazerson came up with. And it was basically about our film. And it comes out in the Torah codes. The codes will be distributed and has my name in there. Basically in parallel rows and close together with small skips, which is pretty significant. Don't ask me why that's in there, but it is. It even has the correct year, 5775, which was 2015 when the film was released. It has Glazerson's name in. His first name is Matityahu. It's in there. Talks about the doctrine of Messiah. And in the plain text, near where this code sequence was found, it says, your eyes which see the deeds of God. I always thought that was kind of cool. This is a table from Art Levitt back when Saddam Hussein was captured and killed. What's interesting about this, to show you how such a tiny table can contain so much information, I'm going to bring it in stages for you so you can see this. Saddam will die. Saddam will die, and he was hanged. And you notice how tightly together these codes are. He was hanged like his brother, and the like his brother is intertwined with the word hanged. It's pretty amazing. George Norrie, who is the host of Coast to Coast AM, we did some tables for him that were pretty amazing. And Professor Rips did this one. Several tables that were done over almost a 3-week period. This one really is quite phenomenal because it really talks about George Norrie. If you've ever listened to Coast AM, you know it's all about UFOs and the paranormal and all of that, and yet George is very level-headed about it. And what's interesting is that Professor Rips found a whole sentence about George using George's name. It says, loves the paranormal, but clear-cut. That's basically George Norrie. I know George personally, and that's the way he is. He's very clear-cut about it. Crossing that sentence is the word radio, and then parallel to it is the word broadcaster, and Norrie is in green. I mean, it's quite amazing. The next table is, the reason I'm putting it up here is because everything was slanted at the same level and repeated in the codes and in the plain text besides. So it was very hard to ignore this, even though it's not the most popular tables for liberals. Basically, it has the words Hillary and Obama intertwined at the same angle. It says, what is their heart? It says United States. The United States has been defiled. And then it says the abomination unto the Lord in the Torah codes in red at the same angle in the same sentence. Now, at the bottom of this table in black with yellow letters, it says an abomination unto the Lord thy God, which is actually in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 1, which basically is the same thing that the codes say in this same passage. You can study the rest for yourself, but I mean, as crazy as this table is, I felt that it was significant because you don't see tables like this every day. This is a really recent table. I mean, this one's like kind of shouting at us. It has everybody's name that's been involved in the Torah codes in some way. In one sentence. It's a little messy, but basically it says Matityahu, which is Rabbi Glazerson's first name, code there at the bottom, the code, 5779, which is the year 2019, this year. 5736 is the year where the codes were first discovered by Professor Rips. Rips is right under it. Code of Messiah, and then it has my name, Richard, and then my company name, Pinight, parallel at the same angle. I mean, don't ask me how that happened. The word faith and in the Torah and from heaven and Doron. Doron Witztum is one of the code researchers that helped write the software. I mean, all this stuff is in this one table. Here's another one kind of like that. This one I like a lot. This was done by Rabbi Glazerson. He did it for me. I didn't ask him to do it, but he did this and gave it to me. It says the code of Messiah and Pinight with the word ephod just above it. We think that the ephod might have been a computer. It's very possible because of the lights that would come off and on to answer questions that it was some kind of very high-tech device. The keywords in the middle say Torah code, and it has the years, 5736. That was the year that the code was discovered, and then 5775 was the year our film came out. And then down in the plain text it says, "Will show to the world the deeds of God." That's kind of a cool table. To show how the plain text works with actual text, this is one of my favorite tables. This is about the Twin Towers. It says at the top of the page, Twins Towers Massacre, September 11th, the terror attack. And then right beneath all of that cluster of codes, highlighted, it says, "And fell from the people this day about 3,000 men." And if I remember right, it was like 2,997 people died that day, and that's what the scripture said 3,300 years ago. So that's an incredible table. This is another one. In Jewish tradition, the word Samael, which is in this, it's the desolation of God, or the left hand. So this is kind of a problem that the left has, always going against things. In this table is the word Kavanaugh and blame, hatred, and a feminine plot, which we pretty much discovered that was the case. Most of the women that said that Kavanaugh abused them have recanted. It was a feminine plot to try to not get him into his position as Supreme Court Justice. This is another one. This was found by Professor Haralick and Rabbi Glazerson. This was when Breitbart died in 5772, which is 2012. Comes up in the codes, was poisoned on the 1st of March and will be killed. Indeed, that's what most people believe happened to him. Everybody was concerned with 2012. We were studying that 2012 codes way back in 2009. And what I thought was interesting about this, Rabbi Glazerson found this table. The keywords, the axis keywords are change in the world. And it says on the 10th of Tevet, which is December 22nd, 2013. So basically, there's some overlap here of dates, because in the Hebrew calendar, 2013, you're already in 2013 in the month of December. Not for us, but for them you are. So indeed, we've had a lot of changes that have happened since 2012. The world has changed. This is probably Professor Ripp's most famous table. He looked this up right after the Twin Towers attack. It's the Twin Towers airplane attack. Those letters came up all in chapter 20 of the book of Numbers in just a very small table, an amazingly small table. And the chances